Hi, in this video I'm going to walk you through how to create customized order templates for EposNow using the Slynk app. The first thing you need to do is go onto the Slynk website, which is at slynk.io, which you can also find in this video's description. So here we are, we're on the main page. The first thing you need to do is to register with Slynk and subscribe to one of the plans for the EposNow Order Templates app. And once you're done with that, you can then go into the app. And once you're logged in, you'll see this button up here that says Go to App. Click on that, and the app will load up, and we come onto the dashboard. So we want to go into our EposNow app, so click on EposNow and go to Order Templates. And you'll see that we have no templates in here at the moment. And I'm using just 0 of my 1 available active templates. Depending on your subscription level, you will have either 1, 3 or 20 or more active templates available. An active template is basically any template that can then be used within EposNow. You can have any number of templates in the system, but you can only have a limited number of active templates based on the subscription level that you have. One of the main things that will help with efficiency is the default action button setting. And this is the button that we have in the EposNow till to launch the Order Templates app. And you can set what happens when you click that button. So we have several options here. We've got the show order list. So this is if when you click that button, the first thing you want to see is a list of all the orders in the system. The next option is to print the last order with a default template. So what this does is it will automatically pick the last order from the till and use your default and print your default template without needing anything else. So this is ideal for places where you're only going to have one template, and typically you're just printing off the last order from that till. And the final option is to select a template with the last order. So this is ideal for when you have multiple templates in the system. Let's say you may have one for an invoice, one for a delivery note, and you want to use the last order on that till, but you'd want to be able to select which template you want to use. So this would be the ideal option for that. Doesn't matter which one of these you choose, within the app you can easily navigate between choosing an order, choosing a template, and printing an order with a particular template. This setting here is simply what happens by default, so that you can maximize your efficiency. So we'll leave it to select template with last order for now. And as you can see, there's no templates in the system as yet. So what we're going to do is, first of all, create a new template. To do this, click on the plus button at the bottom right of the screen. When you click that, we'll get a list of templates that we can use as a starting point, or we could use a blank template. Let's use the invoice one for now. If you want to see any of these in a bit more detail, just click on it, it'll zoom in and show you what that template looks like. And if you want to use that template, click on the Use Template button. So we'll use the invoice one for now. So there we go. Our template set up, and we'll give it a name. Let's call it Demo Invoice. For the status, set it to Draft or Published. Only published templates will be shown in EposNow. The draft ones will remain within Slynk, but they will not show up on the EposNow till or back office. So this is a good way for you to be able to work on some templates, and when they're completely ready, then you can set them to published and they will show up. The other thing to note is only published templates count towards your active templates, so you can have as many as you like in the system, and it won't affect anything. But when you do publish it, then you're limited to the number of active templates, which is determined by your subscription. Okay, so we have 3 tabs here: Content and Settings, Layout, and Preview. So the Content and Settings is where we set up our template. We tell it what content needs to be in there, what colors to use, what fonts to use, and so on. The layout then determines where all of this information goes. and in the preview we can then have a look at what it looks like. In the preview we can select from this drop down list to select different types of transactions, so we can preview our template under different conditions. So let me show you what that looks like. So before we do that, we have to save it, because it's a new template. So once our template has been saved, we should then be able to preview it. Okay, so it's now saved and we can have a look at the preview. We go to load preview. And there we go, it's showing me my template as it would look like for this particular transaction, which is a single item paid for by cash. So in here we can see we've got our title up here, we've got the logo, and customer information and order information in here. We've got a list of the items in this order, and we've got summaries of the tender, which is by cash, and we've got a summary of the taxes and a footer down here. So how do we set all this up? So let's go back into the Content and Settings tab, and we can have a look at the template itself. So we need to define what is the size of the paper we're going to be printing this on, what's the spacing we want on the edges of the paper, and that's all done within this Document Settings tab in here. With the fonts and colors, pretty self-explanatory again. We can set the fonts for the headings, for the body, and also set the size and color for each of these. Same thing for tables. Any tables within your template, you can set the font size, the spacing in the cells, the background color of the headers, the text color, the background color of the data rows. It'll all be done in here. Okay, so that's the styling and settings, and then setting up the content. So we have various text fields. You see we've got something, the title in here, we've got our company information, we've got a VAT number. The important thing here is to give it an identifier that's memorable to you. It's not used anywhere in the template, it's literally just to allow you to identify each of these blocks easily in the layout editor. So if we look at this one, we've given this one the identifier title, and when we look in the layout we can see that we've got our title here. It allows us to easily see where it is, and in the preview you can see that it appears in the top left. So we do that, we can add as many text blocks as we like in here, edit them, type in your text. We could change this to invoice demo if we liked, and then you can set the styling for it as well. So if we select all of that text, we can say whether we want it to be heading 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whether we want it to be bold or not. If you click on this toolbar here, you can then even set custom colors for that particular template if you like. This will then use all the styling that we have set in the fonts and colors tab here. Okay, so we've got several different text blocks in there. For the images, same thing. You can add in as many images as you like, give it an identifier, and set which image we want to use. If you want to add a new image or get, you can just click on the Add Image block there. It will add a block, and if you click on Add Image in here, we can then select a file to upload. We won't do that now because we already have one in there. And to remove any rows, just hover over here, click on Remove Row, and confirm it. There we go. We can also set the alignment for that image, and this is the same for any of the fields. You can set whether it's aligned left, right, or in the center. Okay, so here's the EposNow fields. So this is where we pull data from EposNow for that particular order. So we can have several different fields. In here we can see I've added in the order date, the order ID, the customer business name, and so on. There's a whole list of them in here, and they should all be self-explanatory as to what they are. The prefix and suffix give us a bit more customization ability on here. So the prefix is added before the field, and the suffix is added after. So for example, for the order date, we could put in here, say, this order was placed on, and leave a space at the end of it, and maybe as suffix we want to put a full stop at the end of it, and put any other text that we would like after that. So what this does is when it puts it onto the template, it will it will put this text first, say this order was placed on, it will then enter the field, put our order date in, and then put a full stop at the end of it. It's up to you whether you want to use this, it will depend on your template, but we'll leave that blank for now. We can also set the style here for this particular field, whether we want to be heading 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or even a barcode. And this is all done by, it all uses the styling that we've set in fonts and colors once again. Okay, and again, same thing with the alignment, left, right, or center. We then have order item tables, and this is particularly useful for documents like invoices, where we want a list of the items within that order. If we go into the preview, you can see that it's this table here. If you go back in here, see we've got an option to show the totals or not. This is the totals. It's shown under the table, so you can choose whether you want to show the subtotal and total in here or not. Okay, and then for that table, we can set what columns we want in that table. So in here, we've got the product name, the quantity, the price, any VAT applied to that, the discount that was given for that item, if any, and the total for that line item. We can give a label to each of these column headings in here and set a width for each of these. Now it's important with the width, sum up all the widths that you've entered in here and make sure they don't exceed 100 in total, because otherwise that means it's going to go off the edge of the paper, which we don't want, of course. For the alignment, for that column, you can choose again whether you want the text to be aligned on the left, center, or the right. You can add as many columns as you like by clicking on Add Column. You can change the order by simply hovering over it and then dragging and dropping to reorder the columns. And you can delete them as well, same as you did before, by clicking on the minus button. We then have order summary tables, and this is for when we want to show a summary of the taxes for that order, or the tenders used to pay for it. Okay, so that's all of our content now defined. One other thing that is useful is to have spaces in systems, because you may want to add extra spacing in between some of the fields. And to do this, you can add as many spaces as you like, give them an identifier, and set the size of them in millimeters. For the footer, this is shown at the bottom of the page, and you can enter whatever text you want in there, set the alignment, and set the spacing from the bottom of the page for it. Okay, and once you're done with all this, we hit Save Changes, and it's important to do that so that any changes you make are then available in the layout. When we click on Layout, we can now see all the layout. Now this is all made up of rows and columns and elements. So the rows, you can see, are within this sort of light grey background, and the elements are within this dark grey background. And we've got the different columns within the these dotted lines here. So this particular row has 2 columns, so it's going to be split half and half. And what we're telling it is, first of all, I want my spacer element in here, then I want my title element, then I want my logo, and I want a space below that as well. And you can, if we load the preview, I can show you what that looks like. So what we're saying is, we want this logo here, and I wanted a space below it, and I wanted a space above the invoice, otherwise the invoice would have started up here. So I just wanted a bit more space, so I'd added a spacer in, and you can see that there. So let's look in the second row. In the second row we've got 3 columns, so it's split into 3. And we've got different elements in here. And again, if we look at the preview, you can see that that's this bit here. Okay, so to move elements between rows and columns, you literally just drag and drop it as required. If you wanted to move one row above another, use the up and down arrows here. You can move it up or down. And if you want to delete a row or delete an element, you simply, for example, company details, let's say I want to get rid of that, I could click on the X, and it then moves it into inactive elements. So if it's in inactive elements, it does not display on your template. So this could be a good way of, maybe you've defined some elements and you want to take them out temporarily. You could just remove them, leave them inactive, but you don't have to delete all the content that you've set for that. Okay, so let's move this back. We'll move it back into this row here. And yeah, so then if you wanted to add any additional rows, use these buttons up here. That means the first one is to add one row with one column, one row with 2 columns, one row with 3 columns, and it'll add it to the bottom of the template. That's it. Once you've made your layout changes, you click on Save Changes and wait for it to just wait for it to reload. There we go, and now we can take a look at our preview again. And as I said, in the preview we can select various different options to take a look at it. So let's take a look at what it would look like with multiple items paid for by card. There we go, we've got multiple items in there. Our invoice is all there. That's it. If you want this available in Eposnow, we then literally select the status, set it to published, hit save, and it will now be available for us in Eposnow. So now we're ready to use our templates within Eposnow. So once the Slynk app has been installed on your Eposnow system, you need to enable easy access to it within the till. To do this, click on the menus, let's go into settings, let's enable 2 rows of action buttons because that makes it easier to access our new action buttons, and if we then go into action buttons we can switch on the Order Templates app. Once we do this, you'll see that we now have 2 rows of action buttons here and our Order Templates app is showing up here, really easy to access. So the first thing we need to do when we first link these two systems up is to enter the Slynk API key into Eposnow. It's relatively easy to do. The first time you go into it, if we click on Order Templates, it will load up our system and bring us up on the screen to enter your API key. Save. And that's it. Now the 2 systems are linked up. So now let's take a look at how we actually use this app within Eposnow. So we're within our till. Let's place an order. Let's buy 1 case here. And let's add a charger in as well. Maybe 2 chargers. So there we go. Okay, let's assign it to a customer. We'll select our customer there. And yeah, there we are. I'm happy with that. Let's pay for that order. We've paid all on card. And that's it. Our transaction is in the system. I don't want to print the order just for this demo. The key thing to remember here is that we can only print an order once the order has been completed within Eposnow. So now that that order has been completed, we can now print it out. I click on my action button here for Order Templates. And because in the Slynk settings we had set the default action to be to select a template with the last order, what it will have done is selected the last order on this till and gives me the option to select a template. So you can see our demo invoice template shows it here. Simply click on that button and it will generate our invoice. And there we go. It's generated it and it brings up the print dialog to then be able to print this invoice out. At any point we can go and select another order once we're in the app. Simply click on the menu and go to select another order, and we will then get a list of the orders. We can filter by orders taken by anyone or just by the currently logged in user. You can filter orders for this till only or show orders from all tills and select the number of orders that we want to show. So if we do that, if we hit refresh, it should then go and pick out all the rest of them. We can select any order to print. So for example, let's select one of the older orders. If we go into print, the next thing it does is select a template, select our demo invoice, and we can then print that particular order. and it's really as simple as that. At any point you can navigate through. You can say you want to print this particular order again, select another order, or say we want to select a different template for the same selected order. And that's it really. So the other way in which you can use the app in EposNow is to use it via the back office, and this is especially useful when clients don't want to tie up a till just to print out invoices and they just want to do work in the back office. So in order to do this, you literally just have to go into Apps, select Order Templates, and by default whenever you use it in the back office it will always show the order list first from all the tills, because the back office itself isn't a till, and so we can't select the last order from this till as default. So the first thing it shows is a list of orders to choose from, and the rest of the process is exactly the same as it was on the till. And there we go, there's our invoice ready to print, exactly the same as how it worked on the till. And that's it. I hope you enjoy using the app, and if you need any help, just email us on help@slynk.io. Thank you.